This is a failed one where it offset the, I think, the y-axis, and you can, the fabric will rip before it will actually separate out on it.
I thought you intentionally pulled this just to make
No.
this pattern.
Oh, it's not working? Okay.
Oh, sorry, I'm muted.
Oh, yes.
Rookie mistake.
Yeah, so we do. Why
These are really cool. No. These are really, really cool. I want a shirt.
Well, that's the thing, is like, these will work, I think, really well as far as different fabrics, being able for cosplay. I also want to eventually play with magnets as far as attracting the different pieces together, and eventually electromagnets and lights with them. So that, yeah.
I also want to do a friend
Yeah.
He prints a pile of glue and then puts like a little shaky LED in the middle and then prints the rest. So when you hit it, it's like a multicolored pile of universes.
So the one with the paper clips, this gives you an idea of like what the inside of it looks like, where I pause.
One is here, so just keep an eye out for it.
So I actually designed this up in Fusion 360 and then gave it enough space so that they could actually collapse and touch each other, and then also expand out. So that's why, and then I had to hand snip each one of the paper clips, so I took out the inner loop out of it. So there's, in Cura, there is a post-processor, and it's, I believe, called pause at height. So you just have to know the height that you want in millimeters, and it will pause it and move the extruder head to a different spot on the print bed, and then you can tell it to actually hold the temperature or to go back down to 0. So you can adjust that. But what I loved about it, the fact is I didn't have to like do any extra scripts. I didn't have to load in anything. I could actually do it with a pre-existing piece of software.
Is there any issue with the temperature of what you've just printed dropping while you're trying to arrange all your paper clips before it does the next layer?
The pause at height, you can actually tell it to hold the temperature of the nozzle and the bed.
Okay.
One of the other things that I was trying to do and trying to play with, because with the popsicle sticks ones, it really doesn't like sticking to the popsicle sticks. So this was one of the other ones I don't have, unfortunately, with me, that I was playing with the shimmering effect with it and the different sizes of it. And this stuff sticks very, very well because I believe it melts when it actually prints on. The popsicle sticks don't. I actually was like putting glue stick on them. And I was also leaving them on the bed, but so that the popsicle sticks would be of similar temperature to the actual print itself. So the dragon scales I modeled in Fusion 360 using the patch modeling, and trying to scroll down here. So this was actually the first one that I did. I did this for my mom, showing her on my, I have a $200 Monoprice Select mini printer that I was able to try this out with. So you don't even need a really expensive printer to be trying out this kind of stuff. And I was actually very impressed with the results of what you get with that.
Did you try a bunch of different materials and this was the best?
No, that's the thing is, what was it? I think it was like this has only been about, I think about 2 weeks worth of work. I have not had a chance to go through all the different types of materials or whatever. My mom just had this stuff and said, this is what we use for applique, try it out, and we just threw it on the printer and tried it out, see what happens. And really, it worked very well, so I went with that. I've seen,
Have you thought about like memory fabrics or like nitronium wire where you can make things move?
I definitely would love to deal with the memory wire. I've also, one of my recent ones I just tried was using these O-rings kind of as springs so that you're creating that like 4D printing stuff so that you actually have a structure that when you get done printing it folds up into whatever shape you want with it. So I feel like there's a whole bunch of different things, and we're not even getting into like the gears and slides and 4-bar linkages and all the other stuff that you could go with it. So I feel there's a whole bunch. Yeah, I'm very excited about it. I'm in the process of designing a much larger printer. How do I do the scroll thing? I can never figure that out. Is it 2-finger?
2-finger.
Okay.
I think you should set up a kiosk at the mall and have kids come and they can choose their design and you can just print it right on their clothing.
Just don't push it.
What?
Don't push it.
Oh, don't push. Okay.
If they would buy.
So this is, it's a little bit harder to show, but this is the 1/14th scale version of it, which is a 4 gantry printer monstrosity that I came up with. The thing that I'm running into with all the stuff that I'm trying to do is I put the popsicle sticks to warm them up on the bed. That's great, except for the bed, it goes whoop, 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 and drops the popsicle sticks. As far as I know, there isn't a lower cost, say under $2,000 printer that the bed does not move in one axis. You know, it stays stationary like it.
Stick the popsicle sticks to the bed.
You know, I could stick them onto it, but the other idea is to have other robots that would actually drop the things onto it, and having a stationary bed would help with a lot of those processes. So I'm looking at stuff that basically you would have for a CNC machine, where you have a gantry style CNC machine only with a printer head. So.
You might be happy to know that monoprice mini Delta is supposed to be shipping pretty soon.
Yeah.
That's got a stationary bed.
Yeah, the Deltas, yeah, that would be the other thing, is the Deltas do have the stationary bed, but also then you have the thing of how do you get quite into them with the 3 posts.
Was your design rendered in Fusion 360?
Yep.
So, if you don't mind going back.
Yeah.
Is there an image in the back, or is it?
Yeah, I put an image of the back of the semi-trucks. I picked 1/14 scale because there are RC semi-trucks at 1/14 scale. So, so when I build it, I can actually have my RC semi-truck pull up and. So that's my presentation.
Super cool.
Thank you.
I don't know about any of you, but I haven't seen anything like that before. So I love seeing something and holding something like, oh wow, this is
Yeah.
different. This
Yeah.
is different.
Yeah,
So-
the first time I printed one out, I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel like I was expecting it to feel, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Amazing.
way cooler.
I am,
Why isn't
sure
anybody
everybody else is way impressed too.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is blown away.
Yeah, if anybody else has any questions.
I wanted to know if there, besides, obvious cosplay kind of things, is there actual body armor possibilities with this, turning in metal?
Oh, that's how you make money.
Yeah, I believe that you could probably do stuff like that because there is a, what is it? I think it's Maker Forge or something like that is doing, it's a $15,000 printer, but it actually prints out pieces of Kevlar and pieces of carbon fiber and integrates them into the printer. But like I said, it's like $15,000 for that printer. Whereas I can buy a Kevlar, little pieces of Kevlar, little pieces of carbon fiber, and hit pause and on my monoprice and stick it in there. you know.
Yeah.
So,
this is really impressive. I mean, I'm honest. To be honest, I'm not super up on 3D printing. And,
yeah.
but I have never seen anything like this before.
Do you think that you could print in wax or the melt-away material onto fiberglass sheets or carbon fiber sheets and then make fiberglass forms or carbon fiber forms?
I'm not
It's such an
sure.
expensive process.
There is, I know that there is actually a 3D printable, machinable wax that you can buy, which is really cool. The biggest thing that I'm running into with this print, with the printer that I have, like especially like the Prusa or anything that has a probe with it, is I can't vary the Z height and move it up and down the way that I would want to for a lot of things. So I'm having to design the cavity and print all the way up to the top of the cavity instead of printing down into the cavity. So one of the things I'll probably have to do is I'll look at modified nozzles that have a very long height to them and things like that, and then modified G-code where you actually are modifying the Z height as you're printing to do these sweeping curves and stuff like that. So it's definitely things that you can do, but yeah, making molds that you would put fiberglass in and stuff like that, that's all I think very doable. I think the mixed media applications of 3D printing really, nobody's really touching that right now.
Well, you've seen it here first.